properties. In 2 months, in Samburu, for example, we have lost 30 young men and 1 middle-aged woman. We cannot continue in this trend, Mr. Professor Kindiki. Please do something. And if the security officers are overpowered by the bandits, tell us, then we will plan ourselves to deal with them properly. Thank you.
The last supplementary minister I'll give for Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Just as a follow-up to the question originally asked by Mr. Honorable Munene, Mr. Minister, Waziri, I must really appreciate the speed with which your ministry dispatched the Internal Affairs Unit and indeed the IPOA to carry out investigations on the fatal shooting of Mr. Mugambi in Chuka. Mr. Speaker, we have similar, more or less similar cases that have happened in the recent past. A case in point is the fatal shooting of a third-year Maseno University student, William Mayenga, in Maseno University by the police on the 20th, I think, of March this year. The second incident is the killing by being run over by a police vehicle of police officer Ben Oduor of Nyamira, or of Keroka Police Station, Nyamira County. Bwana Waziri, could you confirm to the August House if you have similarly, in those instances, dispatched the Internal Affairs Unit to carry out investigations? And if so, what is the progress of those investigations? What is the status of those investigations? Or could we be seeing a case of double standards, application of the law differently in different situations, in different parts of the country, and concerning different communities? 2, is it now a policy of the Kenya Police Service to quell riots by use of live bullets? Is the old policy of using rubber bullets now discarded? And if so, when did this change in policy occur? And for whose benefit? Thank you.
Minister, there is a member, Honorable Kamren, who says that if he doesn't ask a supplementary, it will not be good for him today. I'll give him a minute, then you can answer the 5 questions.
Asante Bwana Speaker. Nataka nichukue nafasi hii Speaker. Ya nashukuru waziri amejaribu, lakini ninapoongea saa hii vita inaendelea kwangu Baringo South. Sasa hivi ninapoongea na kijana mmoja tumepoteza maisha, 3 wameumia. Nimetumana pesa ya meli kwenda kuwachukua wale ambao wameumia, na nimetumana gari kwenda kuchukua mwili, na saa hii ng'ombe imeenda, watu wanakimbia, wanahangaika kwa sehemu ya Kiserian, Mukutane na Rukus. Najua waziri alikuwa huko hapo awali, lakini saa hii imekuwa chungu kwamba kazi hii ya bandits inaendelea. Sijui waziri utafanya namna gani kwamba watu wangu wapata amani. Nimeomba kila wakati kwamba au wakora watolewe Rukus, Mukutane na Arabal locations. Au wamechukua hiyo locations sote 3. Hakuna mtu naishi mashule, mpaka hata bandits wenyewe wanaishi kwa mashule. Ile tuliyochenga kwa CDF. Nitakuwa nikicomplain mara ngapi? Watu wangu hawana bunduki. Mimi sio kama wale wengine wana bunduki wanaweza kujiokoa. Sisi hatuna bunduki. Waziri na anaelewa. Naomba kwamba nahitaji amani, na hii watu wangu ambao wameumia saa hii kwa sababu sijui hata ni ngapi. Naomba kwamba waziri tutafanya nini hii vita saa hii isimame na watu wangu warejee, na hiyo ng'ombe imechukuliwa irudi, na serikali wanisaidie hiyo mwili ambayo imeenda na hao watu naumia, serikali wakaramie. Asante sana.
Minister, you may answer those 6 supplementaries. Be precise and concise. Given the tremendous interest, I might give another 2 thereafter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the supplementary question raised by the member for Tharaka, I would like to respond as follows. That at this point, when investigations are ongoing, we do not have conclusive evidence on who would have shot the deceased. However, if the evidence links an officer of the National Police Service or any other government official in the murder of Mr. Kiraku, 2 things I would like to assure the House. 1, whoever is responsible will be prosecuted. And 2, if the person has died in the hands of our officers, the procedures for compensation will ensue. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the question raised by the Honorable Mbui, I would like to respond as follows. There are no shoot-to-kill orders. On the contrary, all officers in the National Police Service and all security agencies who are involved in managing public protests, demonstrations, and riots, and crowd control are under very strict instructions not to use live bullets when dealing with members of the public. In fact, Honorable Speaker, the reason the OCPD was transferred is because there were very strict orders given by the Inspector General of Police that there should be no live bullets used in crowd control, not just in Chuka, but even in other protests. So we want to give some independence so that we establish when the OCPD is not in office, if indeed it's a police officer who fired that killer bullet against the orders and the policy of this government, then action will be taken. But of course, it could have been any other firearm holder because there are civilians also who are licensed to carry arms and they could take advantage of riots to cause deaths. Honorable Speaker, the 3rd supplementary question was raised by the member for Samburu. And I want to assure the House, through you, Mr. Speaker, that the deaths that have been caused in Samburu and other parts of the country as a result of livestock rustling and banditry are regrettable. 2, we have had an operation going on there, but we continue to experience incidents of bandit attacks from time to time. Honorable Speaker, what has happened is that we have been able to dominate the permanent abodes where we suspected bandits were hiding whenever they steal livestock. And because of international standards on the use of force, that is the only reason we gave 24-hour ultimatum to any members of the civil population who could have been mixed up in these areas by way of being family members to the bandits, etc., to vacate. After that, we have been able to actually remove and dominate those areas and remove the threats that used to exist in those areas. But the spiral, what has happened is that during that window of notice we had given to be able to ensure that we don't have civilian casualties, some of these criminals could have mixed with the population. And because the security forces cannot be everywhere, and guard every homestead. They are making sporadic raids, sometimes successful. But Mr. Speaker, we have prevented and thwarted and even recovered livestock numerous times on a daily basis. I am even willing to table within the time that we have had an operation in the north, how many livestock have been stolen in all those counties, how many have been recovered, and where, and how many are outstanding. We have not made full recoveries, and the reason is simple, that as soon as a raid is successful, the criminals divide the livestock into small numbers, 5, 10, so the recovery process is a bit slow, painful, but we've made some significant recoveries. I have evidence as late as yesterday, we have recovered livestock in Laikipia. So, Mr. Speaker, the challenge is still there. We do not want to deny that the challenge does not exist. And Mr. Speaker, this challenge has not started this year, last year, 5 years, 10 years. This is a problem that started as early as 1977 in some parts of these areas. We are doing everything possible to make sure that we have a final end of this problem. It cannot be done in a month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, but we will reach there. It doesn't matter what it takes. We appeal for patience, we appeal for understanding, and we know that we will get around it as soon as we continue this domination of these areas where the bandits retreat when they steal livestock. In fact, Honorable Speaker, we are upscaling the numbers of security agencies we have. We are doubling them on Saturday. And as I've announced, this deployment will not cease with the end of the operation. Whenever the operation will be called off, the security agencies will remain there for as long as Kenya exists, to ensure that this problem does not recur. Because previously we have done an operation, as soon as the